Hello, everybody. Dear participants, I hope you had a good lunch and enjoyed your time away from the conference, and that now you are back full of energy and ready to learn new things. Just a quick reminder that all the materials, the video recordings of the presentations, the slides of the speakers, and everything else, can be found in our Telegram chat. I can see that our next speaker is already here. Yulia, welcome. Would you like to try and share your slides with us to make sure that everything is working? Okay, and we're going to give you, dear participants, another minute to come back from the lunch break. Hello,
Can
Yulia.
you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, great. I can see your whole screen, not just the slides.
I'm going to share them just
in a minute.
super.
Okay. Dear participants, in the chat box now, you can see the link to the Telegram chat. So please join it to find all the recordings, the slides, and other materials there. Okay.
Just a second. I think I might use just PDF file to share my screen.
Okay, whichever works better for you. Okay.
Just a second.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, I'm very, very nervous.
Wow, you've done it a million times.
You know, I'm telling you my emotions because I'm going to share my ideas on how you can develop emotional intelligence in your classroom.
Yeah, that's great. So, as Yulia is feeling a little bit nervous, dear participants, let's give her a warm welcome with the Zoom reactions and smileys in the chat. And as Yulia has already said herself, she's going to share her ideas on how we can develop emotional intelligence in our classroom. So, Yulia, welcome. Take it away, please.
Thank you. So yes, this is the name of my talk. I'm sure you can see it properly, developing EI in your classroom. So first of all, I want to ask you, and you're very welcome to type answers in the chat. What is emotional intelligence? What do you think it is? I'm not asking for an accurate description of this term. Any ideas? Even if you don't know what you think it might be. And maybe why it is important to teach this thing to our learners of all levels. Okay, so I can see the answers in the chat. Being able to understand emotions. Whose emotions? Okay, next one, understanding your own emotions and those of other people. You're okay. So yeah, you're pretty accurate in describing this thing. So as you can see, emotional intelligence is the ability to understand, use, and manage your own emotions in positive ways. So these two things, the first and the last one here, are really important. Understanding what you're feeling and being able to manage them. That's why I told you that I'm really nervous today, because I am. And naming the emotion helps me to cope with them right now. And why do we do this? We do this in order to relieve stress, communicate effectively, empathize with others, which is utterly important right now, and overcome challenges and obviously diffuse conflict. All of these things, they do happen in our classroom because our classroom is full of different people. and they have to communicate effectively using new language for them, and they have to cope with their emotions because different things happen in different situations, and our students may be overexcited or they may be very stressed due to their personal things. So that is what we need emotional intelligence for. Just a question that I may be wondering is like, have you ever worked with emotional intelligence in your classroom? Just put a plus or minus in the chat box, because now I'm going to give you several ideas on how you can do that. So first of all, the main question is, what feelings and emotions do you already know? Can you name them again in the chat box, or maybe just to yourself? And is there any difference between feelings and emotions? Spoiler, there is. So feelings are mostly bodily reactions of your inner self, and emotions are usually caused by these feelings. That's why we have several activities that you can teach your students to use. First of all, again, I'm going to ask you lots of questions today. This is a beautiful flower, or Plutchik's wheel of emotions. Maybe you've heard of it, maybe not. The words that you can see here may be quite difficult for younger learners and for those who are starting to work with the language, but this is a beautiful thing that you can use. So things that these petals, these colorful petals that you can see, are emotions. The stronger is the motion, the stronger the color is. So if we look at the red petal, you can see like annoyance is just not very strong feeling. It grows stronger into anger and then rage. So naming the emotion can help to cope with these emotions. And naming emotions can help your students to understand what kind of feelings may be caused by these emotions. So you can see also some words that lie in between, some gray areas. These are actually feelings that we have. You can find more about these things if you Google. My idea is just to name some things that can help you and some activities, because I want us to try something. So one of the things that you can use in your classroom with different kinds of learners is emotions thermometer. You can use this maybe with just one emotion. It can be named, or it can be, or you can just use smileys to measure what kind of emotions your students are feeling today. So this one with just smileys can be used with younger learners. With more prodigy students, you can use this one, and it can help you to measure what kind of what state of mind your students are nowadays. Can you change, can you adapt your lesson plan to the needs of your students now? Emotions thermometer. So this is a tool that you can use every lesson and slowly integrate emotional intelligence into the routines of your students. And then you can move on to emotions diary, where you can teach your learners that they can keep kind of a diary every day, despite, whether you have a lesson or not. You can leave some, you make columns that have different ideas, like date, time, because we can measure not just one day, but how our emotional state changes during the day. You can have that date, time, emotions, what kind of emotions you're feeling right now, intensity, like a usual thing from 0 to 10, and you can measure. It's like, I'm angry, and on the scale from 1 to 10, how angry am I? And maybe you can add some comments like, what caused these emotions? What kind of feelings I have about it right now? And this is a very interesting and effective tool to show our students that they have emotions, they need to be aware of them, and that they can change these emotions, because again, in the comments section, they might have added some information about what caused these emotions. So they can influence these things, they can work with them and make it all so that they can cope with these emotions. The next activity, I'm not going to describe it thoroughly because it is depicted in the lesson plan that Natalia Ivanova has prepared for you. I think Trendy is going to post it today, a bit later on. Maybe you can already download this lesson plan. The next one, where do your emotions live? Where do our emotions live? Again, as I said, emotions are bodily things. And when you think about like, okay, what is going on? Like, I'm angry. How do I understand that I'm angry? Like, do I have my fists, you know, they're stuck really together, they're stuck together like this, all of my fingers, maybe maybe, I don't know, anything, just any feeling lives somewhere, any emotion lives anywhere. So maybe you feel sad. How do you know that you feel sad? Maybe your shoulders, they're kind of, you know, folding together in front, and maybe you're crossing your arms. You have very personal kind of emotions and your bodily reaction to them. And you can ask your students to pick different color for different emotion and draw where you feel this emotion. What is your bodily reaction to this emotion? So you can see like the front part of the human's body, the back part of the human's body, because, you know, you have different sides, and maybe side, maybe you can show this one, but usually front and back is enough. You can find more information on how to introduce this to your students in the lesson plan that you can see in the chat box. So I'm not going to talk about this for longer period of time. Next one is emotional cocktail. Again, as I previously mentioned, yeah, our emotions, first of all, they have different level of intensity, and also our feelings are caused by emotions. And these emotions consist of these feelings consist of different emotions. So for example, when you're in love, let's think about this, yeah? What kind of emotions you have when you feel love? Look at this wonderful, again, flower, look at these petals, and think, or maybe type in the chat, when you feel love, what kind of emotions you have? Does it depend on kind of love that you have? Look at this, think about it. This is one of the activities that you can do, definitely. So it takes quite a lot of time. I'm not going to bother you with this. This is just an activity. One more activity that we're going to do right now is music. Music can help us to cope with our emotions. And also it can help us to understand what kind of emotions we have. So now we're going to listen to several fragments of music. I would like you to close your eyes, listen carefully, and note down 3 things. First of all, your bodily sensations. It's like, you know, like your hands, are they cold? Or maybe there is kind of a tingling sensation anywhere in your body when you listen to this fragment of music. What kind of associations you have? It's like, what pictures rise in your head? Maybe there's some memories, or, you know, just like anything, any associations that you have. And your emotions. So what kind of emotions you really feel? So 3 things: bodily sensations, associations, and emotions. That's why I'm going to leave the Plutchik's wheel here so that you can look at it. And we are going to look at we're going to listen to the first fragment. If anyone can do this in the chat, that would be a very good activity. Again, 3 things you can just note down. Again, bodily sensations, associations, and emotions. Ready for the first one? Can you hear hear the music, just leave me a note in the chat. Put a plus if you can hear the music. Okay, so that was the first fragment. Anyone can, okay, so we have joy. Yeah, emotions, again, bodily feelings. First, what bodily sensations, what do you feel? Maybe it's on the tip of your fingers, maybe you can feel something in your head, maybe on your shoulders, maybe you can feel relief or anything like that. So that is the type of activity. Again, I'm not asking you to type everything in the chat, but it would be a good idea to do something. It's okay to feel nothing. It's okay. Feeling nothing also is a kind of a feeling. Yeah, so that was again the first fragment: bodily sensations, associations, emotions. I want to dance. Vigilance. Ooh. Okay. Warmth. This is a good activity because except for emotional intelligence, you can also teach your students to listen to music. I'm sure you recognize the first fragment. It was from Piotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky from the Nutcracker ballet. Okay, are we ready for the second one? Just a second, I need to set it. And you can type just 3 fragments that you need to analyze. Yeah, your bodily sensations, your okay, so this is the second fragment. Again, what are your bodily sensations? Okay, tense, expectation, joy, wind in my hair while driving my car on the highway. Thank you, Ron. That's a wonderful association. Love the picture that you have in your mind. Body's waving. Can you notice how differently we react to different types of music? We have different emotions to different situations. Okay, and body's waving. Okay, yeah, I read this one already. And the last bit. Oh, by the way, do you know this musical fragment? Do you know like what musical piece I played here? The second one, what it was. It's quite a famous one. Again, we can also teach our learners about different kinds of music and everything like this. So if nobody knows, this is Jean-Michel Jarre, and this is Oxygen, usually used in some kind of, science fiction and any scientific films about underwater world and everything like this. So the last piece, number 3, again, the same routine, bodily sensations, associations, and emotions that you have. Okay, so yeah, music for reflection and calming down. Great idea, Ron. KD says calm and secure eating at the restaurant. Yeah. So again, this was given for you to make sure what maybe there is something difficult for you to identify. If it's difficult to identify your bodily sensations, again, try to put more attention during the day. It's like what your toes feel. And if it's difficult to identify emotions, print out this Plutchik's chart and look at it so that you can identify, okay, what kind of emotions I feel right now. And again, it's good activity to teach and learners about music. I'm sure you recognized Claude Debussy's La Fille aux cheveux de lin, which is a beautiful music piece. And I guess that's it, what I wanted to tell you. These were just ideas of kinds of activities that you can do with your students. You can dedicate several lessons to that. I'm sure it's a good idea to implement this into routine like that. You can do every lesson, just a tiny bit of it, to make sure that you can measure their the emotional state of your students, and that you can adapt your lesson around their feelings. So lesson on emotional intelligence is ready for you, and it is in the chat box. You can download it. It was made by Natalia Ivanova. And if you want to learn more, and if you want to support me in any way, you can join my Instagram or Telegram. Thank you very much. I guess I helped you a bit here. So that's it.
Yulia, thank you very much for your presentation. We still have time for a few questions. So dear participants, if you would like to ask Yulia a question, you're welcome to share them in the chat box. And while we're waiting for your questions, I have a question of my own, if you don't mind. So when you were talking about learners, Yulia, did you mean children, teenagers, adults? Okay, I see you, Ron, a moment.
Just a second, Ron. So I think it can be implemented to any age, because emotional intelligence, it needs to be implemented in the syllabus. And with younger learners, you just don't use scary words to describe emotions, but you can help them to grade the level of their emotions. They need to be aware of them. They need to name them so that they are able to communicate effectively. So teenagers, again, adults, we all need that sometimes.
Yeah, so true. Thank you. Ron, I think that you can turn on your microphone. You're welcome to do that and ask the question.
There, thank you, Julia. Yulia, that was so wonderful. I just have to say it. I believe that is so important to teach not only the feelings, but the vocabulary for it. And that was such a great lesson. I wanted to ask you, do you do that normally in like just a normal general English class, or is this just a special class you're doing, or is it young learners? Is it adults?
Well, I mainly teach young learners and teenagers. I try to, implement some of these, like fragments of these things, like measuring, like the scale is the thing that you can do every lesson. And that I try. Sometimes we don't do that, but we try to. And about music, there is a separate lesson that you can do in that. Some even course books, they contain things like that, and we can teach not only just trying to paint some pictures while listening to music, but also teaching them about emotions and bodily sensations that you can feel. And so this can be, some of these things can be used on a daily basis, like every lesson, and some of these things can be developed into a full lesson, like dedicated to emotional intelligence.
Okay, thank you, Yulia. There is one more question in the chat box. If children just say that they don't feel anything, what do you do?
Nothing, it's okay. Maybe they just can't name it yet. And maybe if other children start talking about what they feel, these students will later start feeling something. Even if they're not feeling something and they're just saying that, oh, okay, Now suddenly I realize that I have a tingling sensation on my head. That's fine. This is also a way to develop their, I guess, kind of imagination at the same time, which is not bad. 21st century skill.
Okay, well, Yulia, thank you very much for answering the questions and your presentation. Dear participants, you're welcome to turn on your cameras and give a round of applause to thank Yulia for her wonderful talk. Thank you, Yulia, and have a good day. And we are moving on. I'm here to welcome our next speaker, Ron Morrain. He is going to be talking about one of the maybe most burning questions of our time: why online learning works for some people and doesn't work for others. So, Ron, you're welcome to share your presentation with us. And dear participants, please welcome our next speaker with Zoom reactions and smileys in the chat box. The virtual floor is yours, Ron.
Thank you, Julia. And I want to thank everybody for coming and being here today. And, you know, Elena just wrote me an email and I was like, of course I'm going to come. Of course I'll do it. Yeah. So, well, you know, I'm going to share screens with you. Okay, and I'm just gonna move this over here real quick. And I'm going to start this. And wait a minute, I think I'm sharing the wrong screen. Excuse me, I'm gonna have to get out of there. Okay, I'm sharing the wrong screen. One more time, getting back over here to stopping that. Okay. I have 3 monitors in front of me and I always have to find the right one. Okay, this is the one that I'm going to share. Okay, perfect. Okay. Well, everybody, yes. Elena wrote me an email yesterday and said, Ron, would you like to take place in this? And I said, yes, but what should I talk about? And she said, well, you know, you can choose what you want. And you know, what I want to run through with you today is the question that all of us, you know, have asked ourselves and what I deal with all the time, every day in my job. People, you know, professors, teachers call me up and, you know, ask me this question. So I'm just going to share with you some of the things that I tell them. And I also want to say that I don't work with young learners, elementary school, primary school learners. I do work with teenagers who are in the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th class. And I treat them like adults. So just at the bottom of this, you'll see that I'm approaching this presentation today from the aspect of a, you know, an adult learning context, academic and corporate, because I really don't change too much of the things that I deal with when I'm, you know, talking and trying to answer this question. Well, I'm sure that all of you remember this moment here when you were dealing, you know, with online learning, being thrown into that, and how you felt about that. If you hadn't done online learning before, I'm sure you were probably thrown into a state of cognitive dissonance and not knowing what to believe and really not knowing what to do. And, you know, you're not the only one who felt that way, because all of us felt that way. I have to say that I had an advantage because I had been doing online learning and had been doing it for many years. So it was an opportunity for me to share my experience with my colleagues. It's part of my job. And, you know, I wrote on social media this right here and got a lot of responses to this from teachers who were talking about, and I have to just change my screen here because I need to move it over here. Okay, perfect. You know, after about 2 years, I just said to teachers in a very direct way, let's stop complaining about the situation. I think Rob Howard even had made a presentation about that. We need to start asking ourselves some really important questions to ourselves and we need to become metacognitive. We need to start reflecting about what happened. What did we learn, not only about online learning, but what did we learn about ourselves, and how is that going to shape my future teaching, and where do I go to next, and all the questions that you have to do when you become reflective and metacognitive. And I just suggested to people, because I love mind maps and graphic facilitation, that I said, just write it down and map it out and be thorough, be honest, take time to do it, let go of some of the things. We all made mistakes. We need to move on, and we need to create a plan. And well, when we were thrown into that, and we become reflective and start thinking about all the things that happened, we have to think about ourselves as a learner, ourselves as a communicator, how we adapted, how we were able to see things coming. We became better and better at that. How we, tried to become a leader online, become a model for our students, and become a collaborator with our students, and and really bring collaboration into the online learning process. And as we were learning, we were taking risks and we were making mistakes. We learned from the things that went wrong, and we learned from the things that we did right. But I'm still trying to answer the question, why does it go wrong for some people and it's right for others? Well, I always say this, Jill, let us not forget what people expect out of us and what we should be doing with our learners, no matter if they're teenagers, university students, or they are people who are working. They expect certain things from us. They expect for us to give them direction. They expect for us to help them build their potential and challenge them. They expect for us to support them. They expect for us to keep them goal-oriented. They expect us to train them with new skills that they're going to have to be successful in the online learning experience. They expect us to keep them motivated. They expect us to give them formative feedback and advice and suggestions on how they can improve. Are they improving? They expect that kind of feedback from us as well. And they expect us to lead them to success. Those are a lot of expectations that we as a teacher have when we're doing online learning. And the learners just consider that we need to be there for them. They expect that, but the internet has changed the way people learn and consume information. COVID was that one thing that raised the expectations that learners have of an online learning experience. What we knew as online learning before COVID changed very rapidly, and learners changed with the process that was going on during COVID. We moved, and we had to move, from teacher-centered learning, where the teacher is in the middle, standing in the front, everybody's looking at the teacher has all the knowledge, knows everything, and it's just basically feeding information to the learners. Well, that sort of changed, and online learning made a lot of teachers realize that that might not work for them, and that's another reason why online learning was not working for some people. They had to start learning to be a little bit more student-centered, and that meant the student was the most important thing. And I just talked about all the things they expect from us. Well, how do we move from that teacher-oriented kind of way of instruction to a more student-centered learning? One of the jobs that I do at the university is I help teachers and professors, future teachers, to learn how to design, learn how to become designers of instruction. And this is the problem with a lot of teachers who are teaching online. They have no experience with really designing a learning cycle. And it really isn't that, difficult. It means about just lesson planning, and how do you put a lesson plan together? And how do you put a lesson plan together that's student-centered and not teacher-centered? I did a recent online webinar with nothing but Russian teachers, because I did want to see if Russian teachers put lesson plans together differently than German teachers. And I discovered that to a big extent, it was true. My assumptions that Russian teachers did approach it differently was true. They proved it to me because they were very teacher-oriented and not student-oriented. And of course, this has changed, and I hope that many Russian teachers are moving in that way, because we do need to move our learners to become self-directed learning and not, making them be dependent on us. We're not the most important thing at the end of the day. It's about them. It's about their learning experience. They need to learn how to take ownership of the learning. They need to learn how to extend the learning outside of the online learning experience. And they need to learn how to manage and monitor their own learning. You will get a copy of this, and all the words that you need to look to see what self-directed learning is, it's here for you. You'll have to Google it. But if we're doing self-directed learning, it's like us just putting them in the car, letting them take the risk and chance of everything that they've learned from us, to get in the car, put the key in there, and feel good about driving that car. That's really what self-directed learning is. And if we're doing self-directed learning, we are also doing deeper learning. But this is about my suggestions to you on how to make online learning work for you. And my first suggestion to you is, do not assume that just because someone is tech savvy, that they know how online learning works. This was a mistake I made in the beginning, a big mistake. And just because they are tech savvy and they don't really know how online learning works, and they really don't know what's expected out of them for them to be successful in online learning. Many teachers make the mistake of just jumping into it, doing it, without even thinking about the process of what is really going to happen. There's research. And here I'm just giving you one of the things that I believe is a good framework for knowing what you need to know to make online learning work for you. And one of the things is that online learning has 4 phases. You have phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4. And I think the biggest mistake happens with phase 1. And everybody who knows me knows that I like graphic facilitation. And there's a reason why I like graphic facilitation: to explain complicated things to people in pictures. This is extremely important. Well, everybody's heard about 21st century skills, and we can explain it to them and, and give them all kinds of things to read, show them a picture, walk them through it, and then give them examples of what that is and how you are going to incorporate 21st century skills into the class. Orient them right from the beginning. This is what will lead you to have success in your online teaching experience. One of the biggest mistakes I made with online learning in the beginning was I just expected that all of them knew how to work with the internet and knew all the things that they had to know to be successful. But I soon discovered they didn't. And this graphic facilitator, and I update these all the time, I use this to walk my students through the online learning experience right from the beginning. I show them all the things that they're going to have to know how to use to not only be successful with me when they're online with me, but the things that they'll have to know to go to help themselves to become self-directed: dictionaries and translators and reading things and quizzes and games and all the other things that they'll have to have. And I give them little icons here and I walk them through it and give them examples. This is part of that orientation process in the beginning that I had to repair to make sure that my online learning was going to be effective and that I was going to have success with my online learning classes. Another thing that I just assumed was that students, if I explained it to them and wrote it down on a vertical list, black on white, that they would understand how some of the processes work, especially like listening and writing and note-taking. But they didn't, and they had to be explained over and over again on how that process worked. Well, I came up with a graphic facilitator to explain to them with a workflow chart on how that would work. Pictures are more powerful than anything you can explain to them. Use pictures, graphic facilitators to help them to become successful and reach their personal goals that they have for their online learning experience, and to understand the process. Be process oriented. That is my suggestion to you. Well, students sometimes don't understand their roles inside of an online learning experience, and they have to be told what those roles are going to be. The teacher's not always the most important part in online learning, but the teacher has to explain to them what their roles are going to be and the responsibilities they will have to take over during the online learning experience. Again, I created a graphic facilitator for that to help them to understand that. And of course, I did a lot of tasks with them so that they would be actually using that and understanding how that works. And I made sure that each student was taking a different role every time so that they would be able to work their way around this and understand all the different tasks that someone has to take and be responsible for in an online learning experience. Well, everybody has a story. Your learners have a story, and we need to integrate storytelling into how we're going to work with them, how we're going to help them to develop themselves in a second language. And I have to say that you need to think that there are psychological aspects to language learning and how you learned your mother language. You developed and you have a highly developed first language ego. You never really think about it because it's just part of who you are. But when you move to that second language, one of the first questions people ask themselves, do I become another person in that other language? Well, not really, but it's just like them developing another person inside of themselves. And you have to understand that. And with me, and I always use myself as an example, my mother's German, my father's Spanish. I grew up in the United States. I was educated in the United States and Switzerland. And I have to say that for me, when I was learning German and Spanish, those were second and third languages for me. I speak 4 languages. So I have, and please don't ask me to speak French because my language ego in French is not as developed as it is in German or Spanish, because I have 3 mother languages. And think about that when you're dealing with people, because that's what they bring to the table. And we have a name for that in sociology, and that is called social capital. This person's story is based upon where they come from, their social economic background, their diversity, their sense of belonging, their feelings and trust. And, you know, she was just talking about emotions. That's also important. How they participate in society, where they find themselves in society, their citizen power, and their values and their norms and their outlook on life. That is what they bring to the table. That's the story they have. And we need to try to incorporate that into the online learning experience, because that will lead to more success during the learning process online. Another thing, we always think about the, language skills, reading, writing, speaking, and listening. But, there's a 5th skill, and that's that intercultural competency, which is based on social capital. And we need to think about, are we integrating intercultural competency into our language learning experience online? Well, now that I've said that, I'm going to just move to something totally different. And that is, and I've always said this, I really truly believe it. I am also the owner of schools, and I have to say that when I interview teachers, I ask them, could you please explain to me how you deal with technology online? You know, teachers come with a lot of knowledge about content, about language mechanics and how to teach grammar, but, you know, other things are important too, and that's pedagogy. And, you know, that means, you know, methodologies that they're using to actually teach. Can they answer those questions? Can you answer those questions? Because if you can, talk not only about content, but about your pedagogical skills and your technology skills, that's going to lead you to have more success online. That's one of the reasons some people have more success than others. Some people are in tune with their TPAC. Google it. Well, you know, there's some tips to TPAC about your content knowledge and your pedagogical knowledge and your technology skills. These are just some driving questions for you to ask yourself on what your TPAC is. And again, you'll get a copy of this, so you know you'll have a chance to look at it a little bit later. Now, you know, when I first discovered TPAC many years ago, I always worked with the same framework. But times have changed and TPAC has been updated. In 2018, they added one more skill, and that's cognitive knowledge. And are we integrating that cognitive knowledge? Now, I said I want teachers to reflect on their COVID experience, and that's metacognitive skills. Reflecting is a type of metacognitive skill. So if we want it for our students, and we need to want it for ourselves, because that's going to help us to become better teachers online and lead our students to success and effectiveness. Well, you know, metacognitive, you know, reflection is not a complicated thing. And I always use graphic facilitators. This is one that was put out by Teacher Thought, one of the biggest teacher sites on the internet, of questions that they ask students. And, you know, we need to learn how to be metacognitive with our students and getting them to think about different things. And this is I use this all the time. I use this with my teenagers. And it just looks very simple, whatever, but it's getting them to talk about themselves, talk about their social capital, talk about who they are, what they believe, their feelings, their emotions. Yeah, social emotional learning. That's metacognitive. You can use it in class. You'll be surprised what comes out of that. You know, we've got to get students to, again, at the beginning, talk about their learning experience and see what they know about learning and what they bring to the table. Again, this is a graphic facilitator that I use to get them to become metacognitive. And here, the last one, asking them to do, you know, some metacognitive things after a lesson. I know, Julia, I'm almost finished. And here, don't forget that we need to get them to do some feedback, and you need to give them feedback. And I use 4 domains to give them feedback. And they need to know how they're doing with structure, language mechanic, communications, and their tech savviness. It's all about learning how to deal with instructional design, and all those aspects that I just mentioned are about instructional design. The last thing, don't forget about yourself. Don't forget about your self-care. Don't forget about what you bring to the table. Where are you in your psychological state, your physical, professional, personal, spiritual, and emotional state? Because that will also lead you to effectiveness in an online learning experience. Thank you so much for being here today. And I just want to throw one thing at you. Go to this internet site right here, and there are 50 cards that you can print out that will help you to integrate metacognitive aspects, getting your students involved. Use one card every day when you do a lesson with them at the beginning, getting them to talk and speak. It will really help you to learn more about your students, for them to learn more about you, and also for them to feel that they're part of that process, that it's just not about grammar and language mechanics. again, thank you for being here. And I ask everybody, if you want to know more about instructional design and graphic facilitation and pedagogy, follow me on Facebook, VK, Twitter, or Instagram, or LinkedIn, where I share with teachers all over the world. Thank you.
Ron, thank you very much for such an insightful talk. Dear participants, let's put our hands together for our wonderful presenter. You can turn on the cameras and give Ron a round of applause. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's something I put together just last night when I was having dinner after dinner. I thought, you know, what do I share with my colleagues in Russia? And I want to say one last thing, if I can, Julia. I want all my colleagues in Russia to know that I miss you very much. I miss not being able to come to Russia because of Corona. That stopped a lot of things. But I want you to know that as soon as I can get back to Moscow, St. Petersburg, Perm, Kazan, I'm going to be there. So
thank you, Ron. It means the world to us. I'm sure that all my colleagues will agree with me.
About all of you, and I just want you to know the current situation is not easy for any of us, but I do believe that some of the greatest teachers I have ever met were in Russia.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Dear participants, if you have questions to Ron, please share them in the chat where you can pass them on to all our speakers. And please join our Telegram channel where you can find all the slides, information, and the video recordings of the talks. And now it's time to welcome our next speaker. Vera Bobkova is going to talk about one of my favorite things ever, and that's low prep tasks for different levels. So Vera, welcome. Dear participants, let's welcome Vera with smileys in the chat box and Zoom reactions. Vera, the virtual floor is yours. You can turn on the microphone, share your slides with us, and take it away.
Hi, everyone, dear colleagues. I'm happy to be here, and thanks for having me. I know I might have some issues with the internet, so do let me know if my voice disappears or something. Just write in the chat or shout like Vera, stop. Yeah. And I do apologize if my voice trembles or something. Not at my best, to be honest. And when I was preparing for today, I used my presentation from Trent English 10. And when I looked at it, I saw that as if it was made for today. So I just made some slight changes, and it's called Find a Way to Teach When Your Batteries Are Low. But yeah, it does deal with low prep tasks. So one thing.
Sorry, Vera, we can see your screen. Okay, now it's working. Sorry for interrupting you. Perfect.
Yeah, so when I studied at school and when my teacher wanted some low prep tasks, guess what she did? And she was like, I know that a lot of teachers did this. So when they didn't want to prepare anything, they did this. Okay, let's give it a minute. Brainstorming. That would be, very communicative. I was studying in the 90s, so not really brainstorming. My teacher's life hack. Anna, thank you. Read and translate, quiz, test, speaking. Diana, I wish. Though actually, yes, one of my teachers, watch a film. We did not have a projector in the 90s. I grew up in Siberia. We didn't even have a copy machine. Lucky us, now we can watch film, yes. No worries, I might, look young. So yeah, our teacher always had, we'll have a test. But these days, the test is not the best option. And we, as good teachers and communicative teachers, have more at hand. So we have options. So let's explore several tasks that will be actually useful and will not require that much preparation on our side. And my contention is that low prep tasks do not have to be bad quality tasks. So let's dive into them and explore. Us teachers, when we feel low and we don't have the energy or time to prepare, sometimes we say, oh my goodness, I wish someone else was a teacher today, not me. And we can actually organize this for ourselves. So thing you can do, you can ask the learners to be the teachers of the day. And this doesn't have to be super demanding as, Yulia, you will teach my class from, the beginning till the end, and I will just relax. No, but if you're using a textbook, you can say, okay, Ron, how about you run exercise 1, and Marina, you run exercise 2, and so on. It's a lot of fun, and you will cover the curriculum because, if you watch a cartoon or a movie, you will always think like, oh my God, when will I cover all the syllabus? But here you are covering the syllabus, but just slightly in a different way. And because of the change of the paradigm and the change of interaction patterns, it will be fun, even though it will be just simple work by the book. So what are the benefits of such approach? First of all, we'll get more student talking time for sure. They will have more learner autonomy, and Ron also mentioned that the role of a teacher in online learning is changing, but it's not only in online. If you're offline as well, teacher can be a facilitator, not just the only source of information. And one more benefit of this approach is that you will get feedback to your own teaching because they do call you. You will hear your own favorite phrases that you keep repeating. You will see yourself in their manners, and that's that can hurt a little, but that's a lot of fun. I will leave time for questions. So if you have the question about this point, keep them. I'll answer. I've done this with a lot of groups. I'm now working with adult learners. I used to work with young learners, but mostly with teenagers, young teenagers, old teenagers. So they respond really well to this approach. At some point, when you're tired or don't have enough energy, you just wish they were just quiet, just everybody quiet time, and let's just be quiet for the whole class. Maybe not for the whole class, but it might give you this trick might give you some quiet time using books. By the way, please type in the chat if you use some external reading, something like if you read readers, graded readers, or some picture books, maybe some stories, something which is not textbook texts. Yeah, please type a plus in the chat if you have you and your learners do extra reading activity. Graded readers, for example. Yeah, I have some classes here, or maybe connection is a bit slow. Maybe you just don't use them. When I was working at, okay, let me just stop the presentation for a while. When I was working at schools, we always explored graded readers a lot. So we were lucky that our school had a library and we can always grab them. However, there are lots of resources where you can find those books online. For example, this one, EnglishEreader.net. This is one of my favorites. It's official, so you're not stealing anybody's rights. And you can choose, as you see, you can choose the books by the genre and by the level. And you can, like, the learners can choose their own book according to their level. By the way, it's recommended to choose the level which is lower than the student's level, so that the reading is actually enjoyable. And you can implement some reading time. And before we go to benefits, it doesn't have to be, checked afterwards. It doesn't have to be comprehension checking questions or like, okay, now let's have a test on what you've read. But sometimes the reading is done purely for the joy of reading. And this is something we as teachers might exploit. So what are the benefits of this approach? First of all, learners get into the habit of reading, and you are the person who leads them into this magic world. Maybe this will be their first book in English. And learners also get some quiet time because they're also, like, children are also people. They also have their feelings, as Julia was recently exploring music with us. And we realized that, yes, everybody has their feelings, and you might be tired, you might be exhausted, and the kids might be too. So just some quiet reading time might help both parties. And 10 minutes to put your thoughts together, think of the following activities. Plus, if you show them where to find proper books in English, graded readers. Let me show you the previous slide again. Yeah, here's, if you haven't had a chance to make a screenshot, they might use it in the future for their own purposes. I know a lot of teachers who hate gadgets. Or hate might be a strong word. Dislike gadgets, but sometimes they can come in handy. And see the chat. Thank you, Yulia. I love using Quizlet, both for games like Quizlet Live, but also for revision activities, also zero prep. I'm a teacher who creates lots of Quizlet sets. By the way, type in the chat, put a plus if you use Quizlet. Yeah, please type in the chat if you use Quizlet. Not all of you might be the same with your computer. Actually, I was also I know that a lot of you might be not sitting by the computer, so thank you for your pluses. I see you're here. So yeah, I do create Quizlet sets. This is what a usual Quizlet entry for me looks like. So I type a word, a definition, picture, then I also include some example sentences with the keyword and collocation. Collocation. If there are some. So yeah, what you can do with this Quizlet set. So you as a teacher say to everyone that, okay, guys, please go to this or that Quizlet set. This could be a Quizlet set from September. Usually this is where we have a lot of fun. yeah, they can just sit quietly alone, everybody using their own gadget. And you say, okay, guys, we are reviewing this Quizlet. Everyone, now sit down and complete the learning mode. Another option is that sit pairs, they work in pairs or mini groups, and they challenge each other. So one person, the definition is the word, but
Vera, I'm
mode
very
is
sorry to interrupt you, but we don't, yeah, we can see you now, and I think that the connection was not very good. So can you please maybe repeat what you said a minute ago and start from there? Sorry for that. Okay. Vera, unfortunately, you have frozen. So let us give our speaker a moment. Okay. Okay, I think that Vera is going to come back in a moment. Yes, great. So Vera, welcome back. Let's see how it goes.
I do apologize. Where I live, unfortunately, there are no optional things. So yeah, these are some possible ways how you can use the Quizlet sets for revision. So one thing, you choose the Quizlet sets, one for everybody, and everybody can work on their own and complete, for example, the learning mode or the dictation mode and so on. Second option is that the learners can challenge each other orally. I prefer when they give each other sentences with gaps and they like, the gapped word or collocation, and that's a lot of fun. And it's useful. Or the learners might write mini dictations. So they dictate the word or they give a definition. I give a definition, for example, and Julia writes the word down and then they do the peer correction. So that's a lot of trust to the learners, but it has always worked for me. The benefits, first of all, you get them into the habit of using Quizlet for vocabulary revision, and learners collaborate with each other. Also more student talking time. You're quiet for a while, and you can't forget about dopamine because they're using their favorite device. And this is my mini life hack. Using the pictures of cute animals also releases dopamine. One more life hack that I particularly like that works for everybody is called pictures hunt. This is a procedure. You have a list of collocations that you are learning. The learners choose 3 to review. They go online to look for pictures. They walk around their house and take pictures on their own. Then they share their pictures in Zoom or in a class chat, and everybody guesses what the collocation was. So now let's demonstrate. For example, these are some collocations from my class with teachers that I teach, and these are some pictures. Can you please tell me, the first picture, the first picture, what collocation is it? Yeah, struck by a new thought. Yeah, thank you. And the second picture. With not on speaking terms. Yeah, thank you very much. Yes. Okay, so the pictures were found by me, so it took me some time, but when the pictures are found by the learners, that's a lot of fun. Plus, they keep thinking about the meaning of those collocations. The benefits, learners think deeper about the meaning of the target language, lots of revision, and also dopamine. So I think I have proved my point that, you know, using low prep tasks doesn't mean being a bad teacher. And I write a lot about, you know, teaching methodology, learning tips in my social networks, my Instagram, Vera Bobkova, my Facebook, also Vera Bobkova, surprise, surprise. I'm also a teacher trainer. Right now, I write a lot about, you know, how to take care about each other, how to be nice, and how to stay sane. So please join my social networks, and thanks for being here today. Do apologize for the interruptions with the internet. Thank you very much.
Vera, thank you very much for the talk. Dear participants, if you have questions, please type them in the chat box. And I have a question of my own. You talked about using Quizlet, and you said that usually you are the one who creates Quizlet sets. Do you ever ask your students to create Quizlet sets?
Oh yeah, thank you for your question. I'm now working with teachers around teacher groups for teachers. So yeah, over there I do prepare these sets because, you know, this is my part of caring for the teachers. But when I work with teenagers, oh yeah, there we have this schedule, and we even have a person who's responsible for the schedule. So for example, Yulia is responsible for the schedule. So Yulia, not me, will remind the learners like, okay, Galina, today you are responsible for the Quizlet set. So after today's class, Galina will prepare the set. Oh yeah, yeah. I explore, you know, child labor.
That's the best form of exploitation ever. And it's amazing that you are not even the one who is responsible for monitoring and kind of managing the whole situation. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, and I think the teenagers benefit a lot from that. Yeah, and I love the picture hunt task. I also learned it from my teacher, Aliona, and since then I've been exploiting it a lot, and yeah, it works really nice.
Okay, Vera, thank you very much for being here with us today. Dear participants, please turn on your cameras and let's give a round of applause to our lovely speaker.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm reminding you that you can find all the materials in the Telegram chat that we have created for the conference. The link is in the chat box. So please join. You'll find the presenter slides there, the video recordings, and all the useful materials. And now it's kind of the end of my shift today at the conference as a host. So I would like to thank you all for being here with us today. And I'm going to pass on the hosting rights to my colleague, Evgeny. Evgeny, welcome. He's going to take care of you, dear participants, starting from 3 o'clock and introduce and welcome other presenters. So please stay with us. We have more planned for you. And I'm saying goodbye and have a good day.
Thank you, Julia.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, it's nice to be the host at this wonderful conference, and so I'd like to thank Yulia for her dedication today. And we have the next set of speakers, and I'd like to introduce our next speaker, who is Maria Vavilova. Maria, are you here? Yep, right. So Maria is a quite regular speaker at Trendy English events. Okay, and today is not an exception. And Marie is going to speak today about quite an interesting topic, which is called carrots and sticks for those under 6. All right, I suppose it's for preschoolers, Maria, right? Okay, let's welcome Maria. Okay, let's welcome. So your smiles in the chat. Yeah. So Maria, the floor is yours. Just a second.
Right. Yeah, I'm here. Hello, everyone. Hi. Yeah, you're absolutely right that I'm going to talk about preschoolers today. But first of all, I would like to say thank you to everyone who joined us today, and thanks to Elena Peresada and Trendy English for organizing this wonderful event today. Like in these vulnerable times here, what we can do is to meet together. Yeah, and sharing is absolutely caring. Yeah, I do believe that it works. So can you please check that everything is clearly viewed? Yeah, that like you can see my slides and we can start.
Yes, we can, Maria.
Yeah, great. Yeah, like how much time do I have? 20 minutes as all the speakers?
Yeah,
right. Great.
But now we can't see your screen, sorry.
Yeah. So my topic is absolutely about preschoolers, so that is why I call it like this, under 6. The thing is that I work in a kindergarten, so that's probably my sphere of interest for the last 5 years. So, and all my talks usually are dedicated to talking about teaching very young learners. What I decided to do today is, like since we are in this kind of situation right now, what we can do is just to share some life hacks and do what we can do, like as teachers. So that is why if I can help and reduce amount of stress to anyone who is probably thinking about changing career or joining this sphere of teaching very young learners at pre-primary. So these are some life hacks here, like how we can do that. And even if you're not teaching very young learners, or if you're just thinking about starting teaching them, you can use my presentation as a checklist, yeah, what to do and what you're already doing, for example, and what can be done. Probably you'll find something interesting today. So as usual, I normally ask the teachers how they feel about their first lesson in the very young learners classroom. Their first impression, like, can you please type it into the chat box? What was your first impression of very young learners classroom? How was it? Did you like it? Did you enjoy your first experience? If you did, like, what was the most interesting or the most challenging, probably? So that's what I selected for like very young learners characteristics. Yeah, what might do this experience different, for example, is that we all know that they have very short attention span. Yeah, and they can concentrate on each particular activity for a very short amount of time. We know that even there is a formula, H+1. So if you're teaching 3-4-year-olds, yeah, we cannot expect them to concentrate on one activity for more than 4 or 5 minutes. It's nothing about you or your style of teaching or the activities that you bring. That's just their personality or their psychology, I would say, their cognitive development. So the next thing is that they have very short term memory. They are like sponges. They easily soak the knowledge, but they easily forget. Yeah, so that's something that we have to bear in mind. So lots of repetition, drilling is needed. Yeah, trying to reinforce as much as we can. And also we have to bear in mind like the amount of the visual memory, that we cannot expect them to digest more than they can. And there is again a kind of formula. If you're teaching pre-primary students, let's say like 3-4 year olds, age plus 2-3 units. So we cannot expect them to learn more than, let's say, the 3-4 year olds, like more than 6-7 new words at a time. So please measure again the level of complexity, because if you use more, yeah, it can again lead to demotivation. They are very curious. They love to explore. So that is why not using this feature and asking them. Someone mentioned before, like inquiry-based learning. So what we can do, like asking them questions, why it's happening, letting them to explore, to watch, to ask these questions, why, giving them the opportunity to predict and then check their predictions. So why not? They're very energetic and enthusiastic, so they love movement. Yeah, so that is why a certain extent of physical exercises are welcomed in the very young learners classroom. So like not only in the beginning of the class, like when we do warm-up activity or some action songs, but in the middle of the class, if you feel that the kids are exhausted, tired, yes, to switch their attention, why not? They're all multisensory, so it means that it's better to use not only the flashcards, but sometimes the toys or realia. In other words, when you show them an apple, let's imagine that's an apple, you will see that the natural reaction of your kids will be like to touch it. Yeah, that's natural. This is the way they learn. Why not, again, to use this feature of very young learners and bringing them toys, realia, and letting them touch it, smell it if it's not dangerous, sometimes tasting, if we have cooking classes, for example, with our very young learners. What is also important to remember is like we always try to base our learning on some practical things. For example, you are teaching them the topic of clothes. Why not bring in like toy clothes if you have them, yeah, and the real toy, yeah. So what we do with clothes, yeah, we put them on, we take them off. What we can also do with clothes, yeah, we can wash them, we can dry them. So we can bring a box, yeah, naming it, okay, it's a washing machine right now, let's put them to wash, then let's take them out, yeah, and put them to the cloth line to dry. So these are like object-oriented activities will help to engage your students more and help them to learn, because in other words, how they are learning, their type of thinking is object-oriented or manipulative in this age, if I can say so. The next thing we have to bear in mind that they are not aware of some codes of behavior. For us adults, some types of behavior is familiar for most of adults, yeah, but for very young learners, it's not that obvious. So that is why we are as teachers to show them what's acceptable, what is not, yeah, in the classroom. So that is why, apart from teaching lexical units, we are to teach them some even more important things like respecting the others, taking turns, yeah, raising the hand, yeah, organizing them, yeah, and showing them like the rules. They're also fun and creative, so that is why not using these storytelling techniques or drama techniques for your lessons, yeah, because this is the way they learn. They love imagining things. So if you like can share more reasons of misbehavior, you can again type them into the chat box, yeah, because again, sharing is caring. But like what we already talked about is like it's as simple as that. Sometimes they might start misbehaving because they simply have some physical needs, or what's also important, they have lack of attention. The kids at the pre-primary age are very much dependent on the adult, on the teacher. And make sure that you are able to establish the eye contact with all of your learners and you are on the same level of eyes with them, because it's again important to establish these emotional bonds with your very young learners. Yeah, when you are talking to the child, first sit down, yeah, and then eye contact, and then afterwards, yeah, we start talking to them, teaching them. So they're unaware of rules. We already talked about this. Too exhausted or energetic, so that is why balance of activities and switching the activities, it's something that we have to bear in mind. They just simply skip the task. Yeah, it wasn't age appropriate, so there is why lots of modeling needed. Yeah, so we guide them, so how to do the things. Yeah, we allow lots of gestures and modeling. And lack of motivation, that's something we will talk a bit later. So the secrets of effective classroom management, in other words, we have to be preventative. So that's why we are here today to discuss these ideas, because it's much easier to deal with these discipline issues if you have them, to foresee them rather than to deal with them when they already happened in the classroom. It's always nice to stay positive, yeah, because the kids can feel your emotional state very easily. So that is why please control your emotions when you're teaching your young learners, because they can read your emotions very easily. Try to be consistent, yeah, because once you impose the rules, yeah, these are the rules for everyone. Yeah, because the worst thing we can do is to let them feel that you are not fair to any one of your students in the group, because for them it's a kind of equal sign. Yeah, the rewards or like positive reinforcement like equals to the attitude of the teacher. So always try to be visual, use displays, yeah, clear system of signals. Like if you're teaching online, I say, you say. You clearly show them, yeah, what to do, because that's again important, yeah, to show them like you expect them to repeat after you, because sometimes it's not that obvious for them. Yeah, I say, you say, or you can also play this. I can't hear you guys. Like, can you say one more time? Speak up, please. Or like 1, 2, 3. You say. Yeah, that's something that we can definitely use. That's yeah, definitely that's also appropriate for all the kids as well. Yeah, why not? Yeah, but since I'm working with very young learners, yeah, these are the ideas that definitely work with our kids. And of course, that's something that all the teachers have. I mean, their inner sources, like their intonation, their facial expressions, yeah, their body language. Yeah, again, that's something that helps. Let's again probably talk about some practical ideas. We all know that the rules are important. It's better if they're visual, yeah? So like, for example, the idea here, if your kids are literate, you can write them down, these sentences, how we behave. But what I suggest you doing, for example, if your kids are not literate, yeah, like very young learners, sorry, that's what we did last year. Our summer program, summer camp program was about pirates. Yeah, we pretended that we were pirates, and we, from the very beginning, designed our own pirate code of conduct. We actually asked the kids to draw our rules, what's acceptable, what is not, and why it's important to teach the to ask the kids, I'm sorry, to draw or to paint, because this is how you involve them, you engage them into this process, yeah, and you kind of share the responsibility for following these rules on them. Yeah, like you transfer this responsibility. Remember, you told me, like, or you drew these rules, like why aren't you following them? Yeah, then like Serежа, Lyosha, so you can always refer to these rules, but this time please engage them into the process of selecting these rules. But it can also help if you're teaching online, for example, you can give them the choice, like different pictures. Here they can select them, okay, that these are the rules that we do, these are the rules that we don't do, and you can place them, for example, on a mirror board, like whatever interactive board you are using. What can also help, like, is to give them a clear idea that they are in the classroom now. Yeah, and this situation is a little bit different from the home situation or from the playground. So we have certain rules, and in other words, to let them understand that they are in the classroom right now. What we do, this is our daily routine. And again, it's easy to set here. So these are post-it notes. They just move their stickers with their names. You can make them fancy with their like cards, with their pictures, with their names, and they move them from home to school. This is how they admit they're at school right now. They are in the lesson, and all the rules, yeah, are applied to them now. Yeah, that's again very important for them to admit. I already mentioned that visuals always help, especially if your kids are not literate. But this time, I want to highlight that it's important to give them the choice and the responsibility to reflect on their behavior on their own. Yulia Svetikova, for example, already mentioned the importance of development of emotional intelligence. Again, this is something that we also do. Is when we give them pegs and they are to choose where to place their clothes pegs, and again they assess their behavior. You can use this system of classroom behavior chart or this system. What we can also do is a noise meter. This is how we manage the level of noise. Of course, for certain activities, some level of noise is okay, but when we do reading, for example, or we are discussing, we are listening to the speakers, it's nice to be quiet. So that is why you can use it like as a visual representation of noise, level of noise. If you're teaching offline, you can print out, for example, this template was taken from twinkle.co.uk. You can also place it to mirror board, and make this arrow, move. And then again, you can use it with the same idea. Of course, lots of attention catchers like finger plays or TPRs can be used. I will not probably stop here. In case you are interested, I can share some YouTube videos where you can watch. There are lots of teachers sharing their chants. They even show how to implement them. I will not stop here. I just want to clarify that there are certain groups of attention catchers. Some of them involve visual representation, like when you use finger puppets, for example, or use some headbands or some makeup, so to grab their attention, especially if you're teaching online. Some certain of visuals can help to grab their attention when you're teaching online. But what you can also do, different types of sounds, like ringing the bell, or sometimes we use maracas, or different types of chants. But what I like more is the type of attention catchers, which are also called callbacks or grounders. These chants also involve some physical actions. For example, if you hear me, wiggle your ears. If you hear me, touch your nose, or like as simple as that, like snap, snap, clap, clap, hands on your lap. You see, we ask them to touch themselves, their body. And when they do this kind of physical movements, it helps to ground them, to bring them back if they were distracted. So they are that's very important. But we can also do kind of callbacks that involve some interaction with kids, like you start, they finish, for example, 1, 2, 3, eyes on me, and they respond to you, 1, 2, eyes on you. Or as simple as like hocus pocus, everybody focus, and you teach them this action. Once they hear this, they put on their focus and goggles, for example. Like you can use like whatever you want, but what I personally like is when you do these actions, like again, it helps to bring them back. Something I want to comment on is interaction patterns, versus seat arrangements. The thing is, when you teach very young learners, normally the most common seating arrangement is, I hope, in most of the classrooms, is U-shape or seahorse. It's also called, horseshoe, a bit nervous. Why we use this particular shape? Because we can establish the eye contact with each particular student, and we can approach them easily. So it means that once you need to approach the kid, you can do it in a wink. And of course, to the left, to the right, these are the naughtiest students. No matter where you sit, at the table, like here, or on the carpet, make sure that you can see all the kids, and you are on the same level of eyes. Like if they sit on the carpet, you are sitting on the carpet. If they're sitting at the table, you are sitting at the table as well. It's important. But the most common interaction pattern that we normally use is frontal work, or when they take turns to do the activity, because that's again something not really natural when preschoolers or pre-primary students know how to work in pairs. This is something that we have to teach them, as very young learners. A very important skill, but still they're reluctant to do that. We are to teach them how to do that, how to be less dependent on the teacher. So that is why if you're using taking turns or frontal work, why not double checking or confirming the answer with the rest of the group, yeah, to keep them focused again. Once you receive the answer for your question, you can double check, is it correct? Yeah, guys, like, is it like this, and you double check with them, and again, they are focused. Yeah, they know that they will be asked anyway. Okay, talking about rewards, yeah, like I don't think I have much time left, so that is why very quickly, talking about carrots and sticks, yeah, there are many types of rewards. I'm sure you know, you are aware of them. We can split them into individual and group rewards, and depending on the age, a shift can be done from individual rewards to the group ones. In other words, the older the kids are, the more opportunities to set up competitions, relay races, because the little ones, like 3-4-year-olds, are not really interested because they're kind of more egocentric. Yeah, they only care of themselves. So that is why like different types of group rewards, yeah, like are for, like, let's say for the kids starting from the age of 5. So what I like personally is, of course, the teacher's helper, yeah, and you can set up more roles like the librarian, the person who picks up the book for reading, or I don't know, the monitor, like the police. Our Sharif can help you to set up the discipline, whatever. But what I like is the system of secret student. Like in the very beginning of the class, I tell them that I think of a secret student. I will not share with the kids who it is. But if the secret student behaves, yeah, then in the end of the class, I can give them something really interesting, or they can pick up this favorite activity. They all think that they are this secret student. Yeah, they all start behaving, and that's what we need. They normally love this activity. Talking about competitions or group reward systems, yeah, we can set up competitions among the students, yeah, or with the teacher. They normally love this opportunity when you do something together and you compete. Group reward systems, yeah, we can use some, let's say, storytelling, like when for good behavior, you give them some Lego blocks, yeah, and they start building, for example, a tower to save a princess from the dragon or unicorn, whatever. You can also tell them the story about the volcano eruption, yeah, if they misbehave, yeah, then it erupts, yeah, if they behave, yeah, then something is safe. What I also like is group energy battery. Yeah, when in the very beginning of the class, the energy is full. I mean, the battery is full, sorry. But when it starts misbehaving, you can change it. Yeah, and if by the end of the class we have no energy and it's very visual, yeah, then we cannot play something interesting, again, their favorite activity. But they can always change the situation once they start behaving, yeah, or doing the activities. You can turn it back. Yeah, and if in the end of the class it's still green, yeah, then we have lots of energy to play something interesting. Or the system of the jar full of beans. We all know this idiom, full of beans. It means that we are energetic, we have energy for something interesting. It can be both the group reward system and the individual system, when you all give them, let's say, pom-poms or whatever, crystals, and then they collect them in a jar, and once the jar is fulfilled, yeah, then again you can play something that they like. For example, what we do in our kindergartens, yeah, we set up these parties, reward parties, every second Friday. They're very easy to set up. We don't need many props for that. Yeah, that's just like dressing up parties, let's say. To finish my talk, yeah, I don't think that we have much time. Yeah, so like lots of sources already inside here, like all the teachers have them. Our emotional state, like staying positive, smiling, our voice, intonation, body language, and like once you have this, for example, system of rules, share it with your kids, yeah, elicit, yeah, involve them into making this like code of conduct, for example, yeah, like elicit, share, use their creativity, use these storytelling techniques with them. And don't forget that the whole child approach is the best one while teaching pre-primary students. We not only teach them the English language, we also develop them. Yeah, we are to teach them like codes of behavior, we are to again bring some practical tasks, yeah, for them to develop, like all in all. So If we have any time for questions, I'm more than ready to answer them. If you have any follow-up questions later on, this is my Instagram account. If in case something happens, I have the same name for my Telegram, and this is my email address. Thank you very much for watching and for being with me today. Yeah, if you have any questions, please ask them. Yeah. Or
Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you very much, Maria. Okay, we have a comment from Elena who says everything is appropriate for teenagers and young adults as well.
Of course,
Okay.
yeah, with like proper setting, of course, all of these ideas will work for teenagers and preteens, definitely, I'm sure.
Okay, thank you very much, Maria. So, dear participants, please turn on your cameras and let's give Maria a round of applause. Okay, thank you, Maria. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, and don't forget that you will find the presentations in our Telegram channel. Yeah, Maria, would you mind sharing? Yeah.
Definitely, I will send everything there.
Okay, okay.
Thank you.
Now we have a couple of minutes for a break before I introduce the next speaker. Our next speaker is Antoine Marcq. So just have a couple of minutes before we move on, okay? Okay, dear colleagues, it's time to introduce the next speaker, the next presenter. So just a moment, I'll make him a co-host. Just a second. Okay, our next speaker is Antoine Marcq. Antoine, are you here?
There we go. I should be here.
Okay. Yeah, you are here. Okay. So,
Sorry, I had some
hello,
technical
Antoine.
problems earlier.
Yeah. So Antoine is an experienced teacher, communication coach, and the person who created some interesting solutions such as teacher build reflexes and develop communicational skill sets, right? And no.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's not.
Okay, and Antoine is just a part of resource education team. Okay.
Yeah. Let's not. I think it's not the right day to do anything.
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
So
thanks for
the floor is yours, Antoine. Yeah.
Thanks for the introduction. Well, those of you who know me know that I'm usually very enthusiastic, very energetic. We're going to talk about activities that develop positive thinking today, but well, I can already tell you I'm not going to be my usual extremely energetic self. I think it would be a bit disrespectful for that. We know why we're all here. There's some very unfortunate events happening, and the most important is to show solidarity, to show tact, to think about the people who are suffering. So yes, we're teachers and we're going to have to deal with that as well. Communication is very important, as we can tell over the events of the last few weeks and everything that is happening right now. It's unfortunate, but we need to deal with that in our lessons. I've already had a few lessons since events started, and it's something that comes up. We are here today. I think it was a very good initiative of Yulia to try to organize something where we think about something else. At the same time, we're all very aware of what's going on, of the people suffering. I saw the post, like, life goes on. We should remember that life does not go on for everybody, unfortunately, and on a sad day like today. But we're going to have to deal with this. We want to be there for our students, the kids, the teens in our lessons, things like that. I have a group of teenagers. I'm already thinking of them. You know how teenagers, well, some teenagers can be very negative in their thinking, can be complaining, criticizing, always focused on that kind of thing, which again, generally speaking, I encourage, I think is a good thing, because they're here to bring change to the adult world. They're the next generation. They're here to be critical and to notice what we do wrong and to offer something different when their time comes around. But I do feel bad for them when they're negative. I'm always looking for that positive thinking. I'm always looking for that glass half full, even though I think we can all agree that today in the last few days, it's not a matter of the glass being half full or half empty. There's clearly room for more wine. But yes, I have a bunch of activities that I'd like to share with you. They're all fluency type activities, speaking type activities, or writing type activities that I use on a regular basis to help my teenagers look at life as glass half full once in a while. They have a tendency to look at it as a glass half empty too often. So I see part of my role, not just being there for English, but also for that. It's good fun. An activity that I highly recommend to do with students is a thank you note. A thank you note is a great activity. You can do it as a written activity in a form of a note. You can also use it as a fluency activity where on different cards you have different reasons to thank a person and they thank each other live. I really like doing this activity in both forms, written and speaking. You can give your students this kind of like template that I have here that is a very good way, a very professional way of writing a thank you note. You have a greeting at the beginning. The first part, don't waste time. You thank that person for something in particular. Now, the problem with the word thank you is that it's very widely used, and if it's said too quickly, it can kind of lose its impact. So part two, specify why you appreciate it, okay? If, for example, this is something that I personally don't like, for example, at conferences, the thank you for coming. Well, why are you thanking me for coming? Were you afraid there wouldn't be enough people listening to your talk? What's going on exactly? So a thank you is kind of empty. It's kind of hollow if you don't say why you appreciate it. Thank you for being there to support my talk. Thank you for your questions. It shows me that what I talked about today was valuable. Things like that. Just saying why we appreciate a thank you makes our thank you so much more powerful, so much more relatable. Part three, maybe we can add a little compliment in there related to the reason we are thanking them. If you're thanking for feedback, point out the fact that, hey, you know what, your feedback, I thank you specifically for your feedback because I know your feedback is always on the spot. It's always filled with constructive criticism that I can work on. Other feedback is not always that useful, but you're very critical. and you're very tactful. And that's why I love your feedback. For example, and then a part 4, a thanks again plus a keep in touch. Now, I use this template for professionals when I'm dealing with teams, corporates, and things like that, because this is a great way to do it in a professional sphere. If you're dealing with teenagers, you might change it a little bit, or you might give them the opportunity to build their template for themselves. I always give them something like this to compare. Like, dear Cindy, I want to thank you for taking the time to show me around the office after our interview. It was great to see how your company works. You see, we already have part 1, thank you for, and part 2, why I appreciated it. Your enthusiasm for your job was clear. A little compliment related to the reason why we're thanking them. I'm excited about the possibility of working with you. Thanks again, Cindy. I look forward to hearing from you. Sincerely, whoever that was, Antoine. I hope that you see that a thank you note like that after a job interview works wonders. This is a great skill for our students to have. And because we're thanking, it's so positive. I like bringing this activity on a regular basis. It's great practice. We can focus on different elements. If there are certain chunks, colloquials we're learning at that moment, if there's any grammar in particular that they're struggling with that we might want to practice, I can include that in basically like the reasons why they need to thank each other. Let me give you a few examples. I know we only have 20 minutes, so we're kind of racing through this. If you can write in the chat, maybe. Does anybody want to participate in the chat? If you want to participate in the chat, let's do this. I'm going to give you different reasons to thank a person for something. And the idea is we all know we can easily do the thank you for, but let's look for reasons why I appreciate it and a compliment related to the reason we are thanking them. So I'm going to give you different ideas. I like mixing things up. Here's an idea for a first basic one. I would give my students this task. Thank your neighbor for taking care of your fish while you were out of town. So why would we appreciate it, and what could be a compliment that we could give our neighbor that's related to the reason we are thanking them? Thank you for taking care of my fish while I was out of town, but why do I appreciate it? Why do I appreciate it? Well, maybe I appreciate it because I have no friends in the neighborhood. I'll pretend Evgeny is my neighbor. So Evgeny, thank you for taking care of my fish while I was out of town. I am so thankful, you know. Nobody in the neighborhood really appreciates me, so you're the only person I could ask. So Evgeny, thank you so much. And let's add a compliment related to the reason why I'm thanking them. What could be a compliment for Evgeny for being that kind neighbor to take care of my fish while I was out of town? What could be a compliment that could feed Evgeny? He's responsible. Very good. Very good. Absolutely. Evgeny, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You're one of the only people in the neighborhood who is responsible, who is helpful. I know I can turn to you when I need to. And it's a nice compliment to hear. I'm sure Evgeny would appreciate hearing that. He just helped me. And I'm adding to that the fact that I think that the whole community, the whole neighborhood really appreciates him for that reason. Okay, let's continue. Now, the next example is going to be a fictional example. I like sometimes, so you see the first one is a clear real life example. The second one is going to be a fictional example. I'm using a reference that I think all English teachers like and share. Adapt the example to whatever your students like, okay? Teenagers, anime, for example. But for us English teachers, we all know friends. Thank your roommates, Chandler and Joey, for helping you move. So Chandler and Joey are our new roommates, and they helped us move, you know, all the furniture, the boxes, things like that. So of course, we start by saying, thank you, Chandler, thank you, Joey, for helping me move. Now, why do I appreciate it? Why do I appreciate it? Well, there are so many boxes. There were so many boxes. I could not have handled that on my own. Now, let's give Chandler and Joey a compliment related to that. What compliment could we give them? What compliment could we give Chandler and Joey that would be related to them helping us move? There's so many boxes. I couldn't have handled it on my own. Exactly. I mean, we know Chandler and Joey, they value friendship a lot. They value support. Very good. Very welcoming. That's brilliant. That's a really nice compliment for them, because they're greeting you in their home. They're really good friends. Yes. Yeah, thank you, Chandler. Thank you, Joey. I can already tell that you're just so supportive, so welcoming. I'm sure we're going to become really, really good friends. Very nice, very nice. Okay, another example. Again, I'm trying to give you different examples. You're going to find plenty of different ways of running this activity with your students. Keep the examples relevant to them. Another example could be, this would be for a corporate group. Thank your former boss for writing you a letter of recommendation. Very directly practical, very related to the job. And sometimes I like to bring a little craziness to the lesson. I'm sure if you know me a little bit, you know that I always have crazy cards in the middle of those, just to wake the students up. It's very good for creative thinking, critical thinking. You know, in the middle of an activity, surprise your students, shock your students. So we are going to thank our dog for walking our other smaller dog. You see, we have I don't know, a border collie or a golden retriever, and that wonderful, beautiful golden retriever. Today we were too tired, too stressed to walk our little chihuahua, so our golden retriever walked our chihuahua for us. Thank you, Labrador. Thank you, golden retriever. I was so stressed. I was so tired. Plus it was raining. The weather was horrible. I did not want to go outside. What compliment can we give our golden retriever? A compliment related to the reason we are thanking them. Any ideas? A compliment? Good boy. Very good, Liana. Okay, there's nothing better. There's no better compliment for a dog than good boy. I agree with Liana. Sympathetic, absolutely. I mean, Liana, here you're going along a crazy line that I like. Maybe you could thank your golden retriever by telling your golden retriever that you're so sympathetic, you are almost human. Although again, thinking about today and the events of the last couple of days, maybe it's better to be a dog in certain circumstances, huh? We'll get back to your compliment of good boy, Liana, right? Let's stick to that. Okay, I know we only have a few more minutes, but this is also an activity that I absolutely love and I highly recommend for next week, because again, this is positive thinking. It's also helping students to broaden their horizons, to work on communication skills, because you're going to see the activity is very, very directly related to communication skills. So it's a very good activity, even without the circumstances, what's going on at the moment, but it's also a great way to kind of direct our students' thinking towards good things, supportive things as well. Yeah, Katya, I love your ideas. Cute puppy, give them something yummy, very good. Now, I really love project-based learning, task-based learning. These are great ways to get our students thinking in the right direction and to put our students into the driver's shoes, basically, in their English lesson, because basically they're doing something. They're making something, and if you haven't started yet, or if you are in the process of implementing PBL in your lessons, things like that, I highly recommend this phrase to motivate the students. I want you to have something that you're proud of in English. You're going to make something that makes you proud in English. And they're great projects. I love sharing projects. One project that I have is, well, setting up a startup. That's one thing that's very practical. It's very real life, very professional to a lot of students. But you can adapt that very simply to a project where the students are going to design a charity. Lovely. It's the right time to do something like that. I think I'm going to do that with my teenagers next week. They're going to choose the charity. They're going to think about who is in need, what they can do for them, how they can organize it, things like that. But at one point, I'm going to direct them towards a clear communication activity, which is this one. It's called Support Our Charity. And what I do is I give them different cards that describe different kinds of people. And they are going to role play together or brainstorm together different ways to convince these people to support their charity. It's really lovely. Whatever charity they choose, it can be for refugees, it can be sending food supplies, medical supplies, things like that. It can be environmental as well. Usually I deal with a lot of charities. The teenagers love those. Saving the trees, saving this kind of animal or something like that, species. But then they sit down and for each card, okay, there's a couple on a date. Look, there's a young couple on a date right now, right there. Go talk to them. How are you going to present your charity in a way that's going to speak to them? Then they think of someone walking their pet, a group of tourists visiting a local site. I know it's time already. A professional sports person signing autographs. A couple expecting a child, an elderly couple looking at holiday brochures, a business person who just checked in at a high-end resort, a group of students chilling after their exams, a group of people playing football outside. It's lots of fun. It's, as you can see, it's a great speaking activity that you can easily adapt to different kinds of vocabulary, lexical chunks, grammar that you might be seeing at the moment with your students. And it's a great activity. I find it very positive. The students are designing a charity. It's a very, very good thing for them to do, to think about. It's positive thinking, and you put in the middle of that project an activity that is very, very targeted towards communication skills. There you go. It's 46. So I had lots of other activities. I never know when to stop.
Okay, thank you very much, Anton. Okay, so I think you wouldn't mind sharing the presentation with our participants.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, you can just send it in the Telegram chat. Okay.
Okay.
So thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much.
In this chat as well.
No, there is a link in the chat. Yeah.
Okay.
In this chat, yes, which leads to Telegram account of Trendy, and you can upload their presentation there.
All right, only there.
Yeah, thank you so much for your contribution and for your practical ideas. Yeah,
my pleasure. I mean,
yeah.
I think a lot of us are not looking forward to planning lessons and things like that at the moment.
Yeah.
It's just, well, we're all on the same page. We know the terrible things happening, and these are great activities. They're positive. They're a nice way to integrate at the same time what's happening at the moment and not focus on it too much. I hope the activities, you find them useful and they help you next week.
Yeah,
these are
and
some ideas that I'm going to do basically.
yeah, and I believe these activities help to build up. The most important skill is the skill of communication. Yeah, the skill of communication between people, different people. Thank you so much, Anton, one more time. Thank you. And dear colleagues, turn on your cameras and let's give Anton a round of applause. So thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, good. So actually, we have just one talk left, and this is my talk. I think we can do it without any break. So if you don't mind, let me introduce myself. My name is Evgeny Usachev, and in my talk today, I'll share my experience of using some online tools. I'm a great fan of online tools, and today I just picked up 5 of them, and they may be used for different reasons. Some for exam preparation, some for vocabulary development, and some maybe just for fun. So I'm not going to show you any presentation. You'll get the presentation in the chat, but I'm going to show you the tools themselves, the way they work, and maybe my comments how I use it and how these tools can be used in your lessons. So I'd like to start with the first tool, which is called QPrompter. Does anybody know the tool, or maybe has anybody already been using it? Okay, if not, I'm just share my screen with you in just a second. Okay, here it is. Actually, it's the tool that helps us develop reading skills in our students, right? So the tool has its origins in the prompter word, which is actually a device which helps politicians or stars, film stars, sports stars deliver their speeches. And the idea behind the tool is the same. So what I'm using it for, you know that I suppose many of you prepare students for international exams and for national exam in Russia. And, you know, in speaking part, we have this task reading aloud. So I find it useful for students who are struggling with reading and making mistakes, just to provide this kind of support. So the way that this tool works, actually there is a white area which is now filled with the text which I copied. It's Russian national exam text, and you just paste it. And there are some settings which I don't usually change. The only way you can change is the say background and the text. For instance, I've chosen white text on the black background. That's it. Again, it's not just exam preparation tool. You can help students develop their reading skills, especially if they have, say, time limit and you want to increase their, say, speed of reading. So you just click Start Prompter, and your screen turns into the prompter. You see it here with the text. And then the only thing you need to do is just to click the button forward, and the text starts moving from bottom to top. Yeah. So the nice thing about the tool, you can change the speed, for instance, making it faster and faster. And it gives students opportunity to read the text aloud within the time limit, because we know exactly how many words it contains and what's the time limit. Right. It's just the first idea to develop their reading skills for the Russian national exam. The second thing, if we are dealing, say, with reading for gist activities, Again, it's a nice tool because I usually face the situation when you assign a certain time limit for a particular reading for GIS task, and students just either are not able to allocate their time, or their speed of reading is really low. In this regard, if they read it from text, not necessarily loud, so we can somehow control their speed of reading, and it gives them a kind of support in this regard. Actually, I used it with one of my students who is in say secondary school, and the teacher assigned him the task just to read the text, quite difficult text about this famous volcano, and he was supposed to be assessed on reading. So we read the text many times, first aloud, then he read it to himself, and then he performed really well at the lesson, and it gave him more confidence. So you can use any kind of text or activity just at the initial stage of dealing with reading for GIST activities, or just to developing their speed of reading skills. Okay, so it is the first activity I'm sharing, and the first tool. The second one, which I found amazing, I suppose maybe most of you are already aware of the tool, which is called Uglish. Yeah, put a plus if you use it. So nice tool in terms of developing, just a second, pronunciation skills, first of all, and as well developing their lexical confidence, I would say. So it's here on the screen. Just a second. Yeah, many of you I see many of you know this tool. Anyway, I'll share with the others. Just a second. Okay. Yeah, here it is. Well, it's pretty easy to find, uglish.com. I'd like to say that this service is a multi-language service. You can pick up English, but as well as any other language. You see, even Korean and Japanese and Italian and some other languages. So the idea behind Uglish is pretty easy. You just type in a phrase or an individual item, and it helps to pronounce this word correctly. And the second use, which I actually benefit from, is to show how these items, lexical chunks, are used in different contexts. Moreover, you can pick up the accent, American, UK, Australian, as well as, Canadian, Irish, Scottish, or even New Zealand accent. It may refer to a situation if you, for instance, in your regular class, you have a topic about Scotland and you'd like to just to demonstrate Scottish accent to students containing some key vocabulary. You can pick up a Scottish version of it, or Irish. Okay. So, for instance, if we would like to experiment on the word, say just a moment, yummy, for instance. You see the number of results related to this particular item, yeah. And the nice thing about that, we have this transcript below, actually, and it's just the context in which the word is pronounced or used. So let's look at a couple of examples. Okay.
Yummy! Are you kidding? It's called class. Look it up.
Okay, it may be just elementary level if we just go on.
Here, we also have these really yummy, they're like, it's almost like a little sausage and cheese pizza on English muffins.
Okay, and maybe one more example.
What they do in order to make it taste yummy, they take out the fat, the good fats, they replace it with sugar to make it taste yummy, and we all know.
So yeah, it may be useful if our lesson is dedicated to the issue of dieting or just proper food. Okay, and the good thing, as I said, especially if you are dealing with the service, say B1 and higher, so to see how the meaning may change depending on the context. Yeah, it's not just an individual item, it may be collocation, an idiomatic expression, whatever you want. So I find it really, really useful. And if you haven't tried it yet, please do. Moreover, we can speed up or slow down because you see the buttons. For instance, it's not the full speed. And it helps maybe for low or level students just to slow down a little bit. It's here on this service. Okay. The next one, which I also like, yeah, pronunciation activities. Yeah, I agree, fully agree with you. The next one I'm going to share with you is lyrics training. Again, maybe some of you have heard about the service. But lyrics training works pretty well if we deal with vocabulary and pronunciation activities. So the way it works, I'm going to share the screen with you. It's here. So it's just lyrics training. You need to pick up Go to the web, but as well you have the app here. And once you find yourself, okay, you agree with these options. So it's a number of, it's a collection of videos. Actually, they are songs. You can choose, again, you can choose the language. For instance, if you just teach other languages rather than English, yeah, or you are learning, maybe you are learning a language like me, I'm learning Italian. So, and I'm using that service for my studies, right? And you can pick up by genres. You see there is a list of genres here. So starting with pop and finishing, say, heavy metal, indie, or whatever. Or you can browse by the name of the song. For instance, if we pick up a very one of the most famous songs, such as by Beatles, Yellow Submarine, is here. And you'll see how the service works. Actually, there are 4 modes of working with the service. For instance, mode, the first one, beginner mode, means that you will have 20 items, 20 words missing in the script, which constitutes 10% of the whole script, of the whole lyrics of the song. And you can switch, if you wish, to the expert mode, when there are there is no lyrics at all, and you just listen and fill the gaps in. Okay, let's start with this, say, beginner level of the song. So to start the game, you need to click on you need to press the button start the game. No need to create a free account. You just click maybe later, and here's the song ready to be heard. You have the score bar here, and actually the number of gaps the student has filled in. So we'll click on, and it starts playing. In the town where I was born, lived a man who sailed to sea. So, and you see the song automatically stops at the word which is not visible, and you just have to fill this word. For instance, this is word. Lived a man who sailed to sea, and he told. And again, you just. Okay, so I think you got the idea, and you can stop the game, you can resume the game, or just quit the game. It may be quite competitive. At the same time, we are developing 2 skills. First of all, listening, and it's sort of detailed listening, because you have to listen carefully. This song is pretty easy, but there may be more complicated songs. On the other hand, we develop spelling skills as well, yeah, because students are supposed to type in the missing words, right? And at the same time, some songs may be vocabulary related or topic related, So that means we enlarge their vocabulary. So again, nice tool to be used. So that was lyrics training. The next one is used for vocabulary development, for instance, especially at the low levels. This is the service called Word Art. Again, if you know about this service or have been using it for some time, so put a plus in the chat. And I'll get to this service just a second. Okay, here it is. Actually, it's one of the word clouds. There are lots of services related to creating word clouds. I found this particular service quite useful and actually convenient, right? It works pretty easy. For instance, if you click at the button Create Now, you'll see this tool, which helps you to create a particular word cloud. And actually, there are 3 words which are here. You can see, and they may be just marked or enlarged. And these words are here. For instance, if you want to make your own list of words, say related, for instance, related to animals, you can just fill in cat, just for instance, dog, monkey, and maybe one more word. Let it be crocodile, for instance. Okay, and to visualize these vocabulary items, you just click on this red button, Visualize. Okay, and you see these items are here in the word cloud. Yeah, so it's not the only option. You can deal with the shape of the word cloud. For instance, you click on this Shapes button, and you have the whole range of shapes, which all, for instance, if they are animals, you can just pick up a particular animal, right? Or if it's a baby or anything else. For instance, so I'm just, let's pick up just a word cloud, for instance, like this. Visualize. Yeah. And you see absolutely different picture of, for instance, would like to make it as a wedding activity. Say you click up, you just yes, click on the button, and it turns into a nice picture. Okay. Yeah, what about the activities we can use? It's not just for fun, but in some cases it may be purely for fun. But the good thing is about the way to deal with the vocabulary. First of all, you can assign a task to group vocabulary items from the picture. So it's a grouping activity. The other activity maybe it's just you can include some word misspelled in this picture, and students are supposed to spot the mistake to find the item with which is misspelled. So you can give them as a base for storytelling. Yeah, for instance, it's for speaking. They have a list of items in the cloud, and they pick up and make a short story based on that. So there is a great range of activities to be used, and it's, for instance, if you wish to use it in black and white, you can print it out and use in the classroom. Especially if we deal with a particular topic and the list of vocabulary items. So I found it really useful for low-level students, and it works pretty well. Okay, and word art, yeah. So in terms of current events, so yeah, we're experiencing some events right now. There is a nice website which is called Breaking News English. So again, maybe some of you has already been using it. If not, I recommend you using this website. So you will see just in a minute on the screen. Yeah, just a second. Yeah, some of you know the site. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so it's not just the site containing different news. They are ready-made lessons based on the news. And you see they are graded to a particular level. And moreover, there are multiple activities based on the content of the particular topic. For instance, if we take such a nice topic such as Scala put on endangered species list, so the news is not good, to be honest. But if it's our issue is environmental protection or animal protection, we can just have it as a part of the unit. You click on this piece of news, yeah, and actually you see the list of activities, actually, which you can use within this particular unit. So some may be printable, actually all know photo printable activities or exercises, activities for listening, reading, grammar, spelling, words, whatnot. So, and if we scroll, we see the text, which is level 6, as you see, which we can deal in a written form as a reading activity or listening form. What is nice, you have warm-up activities already ready. Yeah, for instance, you have it here, 6 activities, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 6 activities, right? Then as a pre-reading task or pre-listening task, we have a set of vocabulary items, and it's a matching activities just to match the item with its definition. True-false activities based on the text, which we listen or read. Synonym match, again, dealing with vocab. And gap filling activities, which may be done before or after the listening, right? Because these are the vocabulary items we are supposed to listen on, to read. Yeah, and this is the task itself. For instance, it may be listening. They're supposed to listen and guess the answers, or they first guess the answers and then we'll listen and check their ideas, or gap filling or comprehension questions. They are all ready. And so multiple choice. Moreover, there is an opportunity to have a role play, especially say maybe with young learners. They have roles like koala, rabbit, dolphin, and so on, and they're supposed to do. For instance, you think of a koala, who is the cuddliest creature, and you are supposed to tell the others 3 reasons why it is so. Okay, or if you're a rabbit, again, you have your reasons why do you think rabbit is the best creature in the world, and things like that. Yeah. Okay, so lots and lots of activities. Even student survey is included in the lesson. So and discussion options. So again, you just can pick up some of the activities here. Okay, so it was breaking news English. And I'd like to finish my talk on the positive side, and I'd like to share one more service, which is mostly used for speaking activities. This is called Photophania. Again, some of you might have heard about the service, and let me share the screen with you about this service. Okay, so it has Russian interface. Here it is. Okay. So this is the service which uses different visuals, different pictures, and you can personalize them. Yeah. For instance, making your students say participants of these events, or just a part of this wonderful photo poster. So we have, you see the number of effects which are split in different subdivisions or different topics. For instance, we can pick up a particular topic, say, let it be, okay, billboard, for instance. Okay. And once you've chosen a particular set, you need to click on a particular picture here. And the idea behind that, you need your student's photo, which will be replaced which will replace, say, the photo here on the screen. Actually, I picked up our organizers conference, our conference organizer, Elena Perisada, okay? And you just click download from my computer. And just a second, I'll find, here she is, okay. All right, so you can cut if you wish, you can cut some parts of the photo. If not, you just click here and click on the button create. Okay, and this is Elena. So on this picture, okay, I suppose everybody is really grateful to her, and she managed to organize such a wonderful conference. And again, you can use this service for picture discussion, for again storytelling, or for some other reasons, for just generating ideas, vocabulary items, and some other activities. So actually, that is all I wanted to say today. Right. Thank you very much for your dedication. Thank you all the speakers who contributed to this wonderful conference today. And yeah, let's stay united in these hard times. And I suppose that the fact that we managed to invite people and unite people today, it's really great thing. So thank you very much. If you would like to turn on your cameras and just to wave to each other, yeah, saying hello, right? And give a round of applause to all the speakers, to all the participants. Yeah, we've done a great thing, dear colleagues, and thank you very much, no matter where you are, which part of the world. Yeah, so we're united today. Thank you very much. Thank you all the participants. Again, a reminder, you'll get all the presentations, or maybe notes. I'll put my presentation into this Telegram chat, and let's get connected. Yeah, let's get connected. Yeah, thank you very much, and stay calm, stay positive, right? And yeah, thank you very much. We see a lot of thanks in the chat. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Rob. Yeah. Thank you for your job as well. And once again, our Telegram chat, so where you can get the slides, the information, and yeah, I suppose we'll provide the recordings. Yeah. Thank you so much. Once again, the link to the Telegram chat. Turn to English.